Oh, what the fuck? Why did I not notice that? Damn it. Hold up, this is gonna be intrusive, but I gotta wipe off the lens. It's still. Heck. Shit, I should have done this before I went live. Oh, Bwaddle. Oh no. Give me a second. I got you, don't you worry. Oh, I hope my audio is working. Oh, is it cracked? This is the dumbest fucking way I've opened up a stream. Okay, let me fix the. Let me adjust the. Whatever. Let me fix the. Let me adjust the. Whatever. All right, audio's working fine. Okay, so what we're gonna be talking about today is UFC 309, and then also the stream that I did the other day where I talked about the Jake Paul boxing match against Mike Tyson boxing match. I'm gonna give a brief overview. I'm actually gonna do that first because that happened first. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is a bullshit fight. Both of them should be ashamed of themselves. I'm very happy that Jake Paul did not put out Mike Tyson. I semi-adopted the belief that like maybe he should have because it would prove that it was more of a real fight. But I'm glad we didn't see Mike Tyson go out at the hands of Jake fucking Paul. Um, I think the way that Jake Paul is approaching the sport of boxing is very disrespectful to the sport as a whole. I think it's just strictly entertainment, which is what it is. But I, I don't like, I don't appreciate his approach. Somebody that trains and competes actively in multiple variations of martial arts. I don't like it. But that's subjective. Everybody's got their opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Um, that's pretty much the long and the short of the Jake Paul thing. Extremely boring. I'm glad it wasn't a pay-per-view because what a I don't even have to I don't even have to go into that. Okay, so that's that. UFC 309 wrapped last night and great card. I thought it was fantastic. We had some pretty good prelims. Mickey Gall, rest his career. He didn't hang him up, but he got put out by was it Oban? No, it wasn't Oban Elliott. He fought Basel Hafez. Mickey Gall fought the dude from the Bronx, Albanian guy. Can't remember his name. What's up, Xander? Hey, sorry, I missed you the other day. I totally saw you after I closed off the stream. I don't know if you got my if you got my whisper. I totally saw you afterwards. I had like so many windows up. I didn't have my Twitch window up, and I was just like locked the fuck in. I'm so sorry. After I closed out everything, I was like, "Oh shit, Xander just was here." Okay, what were we talking about? Mickey Gall got knocked out. I mean, fun career. It was fun. He did the thing. I don't. It might have been one of those things where he was mentally exhausted after the whole uh, yeah. It was the I was going into the UFC breakdown, but I also did like the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson shit. The shit show that was. Which every other fight honestly was entertaining except for the main event, Jake Paul versus Tyson. Um, I think Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano was a fantastic fight. I thought Serrano didn't necessarily get robbed, but she should have won that fight. Either way, I digress from that. That's over. We're talking about 309 now. Great fight either way. So last night, Basil Hafez got put out by Oban Elliott. Super excited to see what Oban Elliott does in with the rest of his career in the welterweight division. Welterweight, welterweight. We had Rufi and Yontop. That was a stellar fight. Rufi didn't show up fully. I mean, obviously he put on a performance, like he was doing some stuff, but it felt like there were some things. Maybe he had a rough camp. I don't know. Um, did you watch the fight, Xander? But Rufi put on a show like he normally does, and yeah, it was fun. Props to Yontop for taking the beating that he did. I thought it was very impressive on his part. I think if he can come in like a consummate professional, as Michael Chandler says, and make the weight and get a full camp in, I'm really excited to see what else he's got. Yeah, the 309. So yeah, super stoked to see what else Rufi can do. Basil Hafez. I like him. I think I think he kind of needs to take some time and just kind of regroup. Okay. Well, there were fun fights. There were some decisions. There were some knockouts. It was kind of a all over the place card in a good way. As far as finishing goes. And oh my God, pardon my yawn, Jesus, it was a late night. Yeah, Mickey Gall hung him up. Basil Hafez, no, Mickey Gall did not hang him up. He lost badly. Basil Hafez lost badly. Um, we did get um Damon Jackson. He hung up the gloves after his loss to Jim Miller. He didn't have a post-fight interview, which I can honestly, it's sad, but I can honestly understand why. It was kind of I mean, I feel like that hanging up the gloves was a little impulsive. Um, I like watching Damon Jackson. I think he's entertaining. I think he's fun. I don't fucking hangnail, nasty as hell. I don't think he offers anything to the top of the lightweight division in the UFC. I don't see him fighting anybody really past the caliber of a Jim Miller. And Jim is probably a couple steps ahead of him as far as quality of fighter goes. But yeah, super stoked for Jim Miller. If you're not a fan of Jim Miller, get the fuck out of here. Don't watch mixed martial arts. Now I'm fucking bleeding. But I'm so happy that after the beating that Jim took from Bobby Green at UFC 300, he was able to bounce back and put on a performance like that. That was incredible. Um, I want to see A10 get 50 fights in. I think he can do it for sure. I think the UFC will let him do it. It's not a Cowboy Cerrone situation where, which also I think Jim Miller was Cowboy's last fight, was it not? Because it was supposed to be what's the other fucking grappler, dude? It was supposed to be somebody else. Joe Lozon. I think it's supposed to be Joe Lozon. They couldn't get it together. I think Jim Miller actually was a late replacement, I believe. But either way, fantastic last fight with Cowboy, and I think Jim's got 5 more left in him. And then hanging him up at 50 is a perfect. It's a perfect number. He'll have that record, I think, for a while. Yes, we had the Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. We had what was the feature? Fuck, I can't remember. Going in the main card, we had Rufi versus Yon Top. Talked about that. We had uh oh yeah, Jonathan Martinez versus McGee. Was that the feature prelim? I think it was. I don't really understand Martinez's approach. Like it's he seems very slow deliberately. It seemed like he was biding his time a little too much, waiting for McGee to do something very specific. And this is just my hypothesis. I'm somebody that's game planned for fights before. Game playing for somebody like McGee is it can be very tricky. Surface level, you're going to want to take like a grappling heavy approach. You're going to want to clinch up a lot. You're going to want to try and get to the ground because McGee is a demon on the feet. But Jonathan showed that last night that he took his leg away from real early. No, not really early. Second round, halfway through the fight, so that's not early. Was it late in the second round where McGee had the yeah? Oh, I just don't think Martinez showed up. I hope it's not a Mickey Gall situation. Oh, this is what I was gonna say about Mickey Gall earlier. I think it's a mental thing. I think he kind of peaked at the CM Punk situation. And oh yes, I was watching Ariel Helwani. I think he kind of peaked at the CM Punk situation because he was very relatively he wasn't very loud and whatever, but he was a little outspoken about that. He wasn't like upset or anything, but he was like, yeah, fuck yeah, it's gonna be a fight. He was like hyping it up and selling it and all that stuff. And we haven't really seen that again from Mickey Gall. And he shows up in shape. He shows up looking good. So I don't think it's a physical thing. I think he can do it, but it's just his head's not in it. It's literally and like figuratively like his head movement is garbage. He's a take one to give one type guy, but also I don't think he's really there anymore. I think if he's telling himself he wants title aspirations, it's just not true. I think he's kind of in denial, and there's a little bit of delusion there. But I don't know the situation. That's just me speculating from a fighter's perspective. I don't know. I wish Mickey all the best. I'm actually a fan. I think he's very talented. A lot of guys out of Jersey are extremely talented. Um, and yeah, so okay, we talked about Rufi and Jan Top, incredible. I'm stoked to see what else Jan Top has to offer. If he fights lightweight, that's gonna be an interesting division for him. I think he was lightweight before, or he was I can't remember if he was lightweight at 170. He must have been because it was a catch weight, and he missed it by a pound. He was like 166.3 or something like that. Catch weight was 165, and so yeah, we had the on top fight. We had another one after that. Was it Tabora? I can just pull it up. um, yeah. See, all right. So, oh yeah, the fucking Bo Nickel. Jesus Christ. No, fuck off Wikipedia. Give me the UFC page. All right. Oh no no no, we had Karine Silva and Viviane Araujo. Oh yeah yeah, Tabora was on the prelims. Wow. Yeah, that was a crazy stoppage. Hats off to Deborah. I'm super 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 excited. There's something I keep thinking about. Yep. What's up, Xander? But with Deborah, super stoked that he got the stoppage that he did. We don't see many of those from Tabora. He's a very slow, not so methodical fighter. He kind of just stays in his lane and looks for. It feels like he stays in his lane and just looks for a specific type of ending to the fight. It looks like he's very 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 careful. Like he doesn't need to fight Tom Aspinall again. I don't think he can fight guys like Tom Aspinall. He's just way too explosive and way too quick for a guy like Tabora, who's very like heavy. I mean, he's a heavyweight. It makes sense. But yeah, that's it for the prelims. Talked about Rufi, Viviane Araujo, and Karine Silva. Uh, yeah, I don't really have much to say about that. I didn't see that whole fight because my stream was just really shitty. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we got no Bickle, this fucking pickle dick bitch. um, I picked Paul Craig to win this because I thought he was gonna kind of have some kind of a fire under his ass, and for 20 million, I bet someone beat my. Yes, but also you gotta take into consideration Mike Tyson's a fighter. He's used to this stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, what was it, the Kevin McBride fight where he was like, I lost my fighting guts. I don't have it anymore. That whole thing. It should have just kept to that. Like, do the exhibition with fucking Roy Jones and just have fun with it. But if you're gonna go into pro sanctioned bouts, also this was a sanctioned bout. This was a professional bout that counts towards Jake Paul's career or record. What? The fuck? Horseshit. Absolute horseshit. It should have been an exhibition. I think it would have been way more acceptable that way. If it's a pro fight, pro bout, because I don't care what anybody says, it was fixed. There's different levels of fixing and rigging something. There's like, oh, I'll give you $1 million if you go out in this round. That's like the what everybody thinks when they hear the word rigged. Rigged can mean a gentleman's agreement. Rigged can mean contractual obligations within the fight itself or the lead up to the fight. Rigged can mean you decide in the moment to not knock somebody out. You're rigging the fight actively slash passively. That's a rigged fight. It's rigged. That's fixing it yourself in the moment. I don't care what anybody says. It was fucking rigged. Good for Mike for making 20 mil, I guess. But fuck, I kind of lost a little respect for him because of that. Either way, that aside, Paul Craig versus Bo Nickel. Um, yeah, fat bag, yeah. I had Paul Craig winning this. I thought Bo was going to try and come out a little cocky, take him to the ground. Paul was going to throw up a triangle because he said in the press conference, he was like, I'm going to win by triangle. And he did not do that. It was a striking match. And Bo made Paul look decent on the feet, which is kind of hard to do because Paul is not known for his striking. He's, in fact, known to be bad on the feet. And Bo made him look decent or okay. Um, so yeah, I think win's a win. I think Bo did win the fight, of course. I think Paul should have been way more active. I don't. I can only assume that his approach is I'm gonna win all my fights by jiu-jitsu. That's what I'm good at. That's what I'm gonna use. I can't be striking with all these guys. I think he's got that pride in him that he thinks he can win all of these with jiu-jitsu, and so I think that's kind of holding him back. Not kind of, it is. Um, I don't think he's putting a lot of work in with the striking. I think he's showing work with the striking and like the embedded series and certain bits of like like B-roll behind the scenes footage and all that stuff. Not B-roll, but that's not what that means. But yeah, I don't see I don't come on. Like Paul's not really got a whole lot to give, as hard as that is for me to say, as a fan of Paul Craig, because I'm a Scottish myself. Um, Double check the audio. As a fan of Paul Craig. Yep. Um, yeah, I think Bo Nickel is. I think he played the fight smart. I think he did what he needed to do to get the win. Was it exciting? No, not at all. It was a boring fight. But what he needs to do is really, really put time in with the striking. You can't be striking like that against really any other middleweight and expect to be like top tier, top tier. If you go into a fight, if he were to get a fight with Khamzat tomorrow, he's getting obliterated without a doubt. I don't. He's not top tier. He's not there yet. He needs a lot of work, and I think if he just takes some time, and really just develops his skills, he's American top team. Can't with guys like Dustin Poirier and fucking like I don't know if Jorge Masvidal is still training. I think he was talking about it, but like get with the strikers, the renowned strikers that are in there. Um, I can't remember the other guy's name, but yeah, get with these guys. Like Robbie Lawler was in his corner. Like, oh, fuck. It just put in the work. Like put in the sparring rounds. He can wrestle. He's got that in his back pocket all day. That's what he's a lifer with that. Um, he's not well rounded yet. He's not really that close to it either. Like he was talking about in interviews, like, oh, kicking makes me tired. Like, yeah, because you haven't done a lot of it, assumingly. Assume, I'm assuming. Uh-huh. So yeah, Bo needs to take some time, really work on his skill set. Okay, now we are getting to potentially the best co-main and main pairing this year, arguably ever, whatever. So Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Um, Great fight. A lot of people are saying it's boring. The people that are saying it's boring don't really understand what it feels like to be in those situations that Charles had Michael in. Being on the ground sucks, especially for somebody that's not really known to be a jiu-jitsu practitioner like a Michael Chandler. You don't. What? Oh, okay. Wait a second. Yeah. Hold on. Excuse me. Being on the ground in those positions sucks really bad. It's very like panic-inducing. But a guy like Michael Chandler, he was composed. He's a consummate professional, quote himself, and did a great job there. Is my fucking thing falling? I can't tell. We're gonna leave it there. I think. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Yeah, Chandler showed up like a professional. Did what he could. The fifth round was crazy. I thought. I thought he was going to get Charles out of there in the fifth. To be partially dominated in the first four rounds, because Charles was kind of making Chandler look like a undercard fighter. He's making him look like a unranked guy. Charles was making Chandler look. Did I say that? Yeah, I don't fucking know. And then for Chandler to come and kind of have a little bit of a rally in the fifth round, but not finish the job. Hats off, dude. Like this is why Chandler is still ranked. A lot of people are like, oh, Chandler's got 2 wins in the UFC and like 4 losses or whatever it is. Um, it makes sense. It makes sense why he's still ranked, and his record is what it is in the UFC because he's so entertaining, because he's an exciting fighter. And when you look at this fight and you see what both guys are doing, or really in any Chandler fight, and you see what he's doing, it's like, oh yeah, okay, so he is top tier. He just can't figure his shit out in the like technical side of things, if that makes sense. Like he's not very he's not. and he's a brawler. Let's be real. Like he just goes after the fight, and he wears his heart on his sleeve in the most violent way possible. And that's what he's good at. That's what he's best at. That's what he said in his post-fight interview. And I thought his call out was funny. Conor McGregor again. I think that fight needs to happen. It's either Michael Chandler or Dan Hooker who Conor needs to come back and fight. I um I think if we're to go in order, I think it should be Chandler, then Hooker, assuming Hooker like gets another win or if he stays in his position in the rankings, because I think Hooker's ranked above Chandler now. Um, it should be Chandler, then Hooker, then maybe a Justin Gaethje, and then title. I don't think Connor should be thrown right into a title after a fight or two. I don't think that makes sense. Unless he has super, super, super convincing wins, where it's just like, okay, well, this guy's clearly not on their level, which I don't think is going to happen because Conor McGregor is a fucking cokehead alcoholic that doesn't know how to get his life together. So yeah, props to Charles Oliveira. I would kill to see Oliveira versus Makachev 2. We almost got it. Volk stepped up. That was a sad situation. Um, I I I I I think Oliveira is still champ of this division. Hot take, but I think I don't know. I don't like Makachev. That's just kind of a personal thing. It's bias. Um, and it's okay to think what you want. Don't come for me. Um, all right, so we got the main event to close this off. Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Um, I feel terrible for Stipe. I think this fight, especially with the way it played out, I don't think it needed to happen. I think Stipe should have stayed retired. I don't think he needed to be in there. I respect the hell out of Stipe. Stipe is one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. I think it's the same as what I said about Jim Miller earlier. If you're not a Stipe fan, get the fuck out of here choosing your sport because you're not an MMA fan or you're not a fight fan in general because he's got that grit. But Jon Jones just made it look easy. He got touched a couple times by Stipe. Nothing really seemed to hurt him. He ran out, like circled out, running from Stipe, I think a couple times, but it didn't look like how Chandler ran from Oliveira. It was a little different. But yeah, Jones just put on a clinic. Um, came out unscathed. Uh, Stipe looked like he got beat up, which he did. Um, props to him. He's gonna have a beautiful life. He's got a beautiful family. He needs to focus on that. His firefighting. He's always gonna be a legend. I don't care what anybody says. That time is off center. That bugs me. I'm not gonna bring it up on stream because I that bugs me. Ooh, that bugs me. um. Oh, the closing odds were minus 625 plus 455 for Stipe Jon Jones. Have I said? I don't know. Which makes perfect sense. Yeah. In retrospect, hindsight is 2020. This fight didn't need to happen. Um, how could we know that going into it? Of course we didn't. But the clear contender for Jon Jones right now. Clear, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't give a shit what anybody says. All of you Alex Pereira fanboys and girls out there riding his dick, understandable. I understand why. I get it. I'm an Alex Pereira fan too. But the clear contender for Jon Jones that should be fighting him for the title next is, without a shadow of a doubt, Tom Aspinall. And it's not close. Alex Pereira is a fun fight. That would sell crazy. That would be great. Right now, what Jon Jones needs to do is it's like it's so imagine in the lightweight division, um, if instead of defending or I don't know a good comparison because it's like kind of unrealistic. Imagine it's I can't even figure out how to. All right, you have a champion in a division, and there's a clear number one contender. So there's the 2 points right there. That's like perfectly aligned. They should be synced up. That's what's happening in the heavyweight division right now. Jon Jones doesn't want to sync him up though. He wants to go like over here. He wants to go over here. He wants to go to these other things and do these fun fights. He told the public he didn't care about the belt. He just wanted to take fun fights. And it's like, yeah, you can say that, but also you're the champion of the heavyweight division in the UFC. You can't really do that because it's kind of like because I'm also willing to bet if they tried to like make Jon Jones vacate, he would pitch a fit. Even though he said he doesn't care about the belt, I think he would pitch a fit. Um, you can't take fun fights that are clearly winnable because I don't think Alex Pereira wins against Jon Jones unless he gets the knockout. I think Jon Jones can probably beat Alex Pereira. It's easier for me to say that than Jon Jones can beat Tom Aspinall. Can he beat Tom Aspinall? Yes, anybody can beat anybody. But it's not exactly that argument too. I think Jon Jones has the skill set to win a fight. He can win any fight. But looking at Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones, both of these guys are capable of beating each other. It looks like it can be one of those situations where they can fight a lot over a long time, and it would probably go back and forth. But I think Tom deserves it. I think Tom has beaten 3 out of the top 5 guys in the heavyweight division in the UFC. What more do you want from him? He has like his stats are higher than John's were um, when John fought Shogun for the belt for the first time. Like that's not like Shogun gave John his chance. Now John is not allowing Tom to have his chance. Who's gonna fight Tom for the belt if John vacates and retires? There's nobody there. There's Cyril gone, but I just fucking Cyril does one thing well, and that's look pretty in his movement and his striking. He's no, and I even think Tom beats him on the feet there. That's not even no. I think if Jon Jones leaves, we're not gonna have any exciting fights in the UFC for the heavyweight division for a very long time. I don't see anybody beating Tom. I think the only way Tom is gonna lose is by like to himself. He's gonna lose a mental game at some point, and I just don't. I don't. He's probably gonna like check out at some point, and somebody's gonna beat him. And it's gonna be like, all right, sayonara, it was a good career. I think the only person that poses a threat to Tom is John. I think vice versa. I think my honest opinion about Tom Aspinall is he is the Jon Jones killer. He is the guy that's there to beat Jon Jones. I think he's deserving of it. I think if Jon Jones retires and then continues to consider himself the GOAT and proclaims it, self-proclaimed, nobody's gonna. I will not believe him. I also think nobody will believe him as well because Tom is still going to be out there, and there's no clear contender for Tom. If Ngannou was still in the heavyweight division, yeah, of course, there's like, oh, Ngannou's got the power. You can, and also Ngannou does look a lot more well-rounded these days. He's not just a boxer with power, per the Ferreira fight, but he's not there. He's in the PFL. He's also a co-owner, investor. He did something with the PFL as well. Good for him. But the clear fight that needs to be made right now is Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. It needs to happen if Jon Jones does not take it. Also, fucking remember as well. I don't know if anybody knows. Let me pull up. Let me hold up. I have it on my phone because I sent it to my buddy this morning. Who we break down fights together and shit as they're happening. Jon Jones. Okay, I don't know if this is just show money and they didn't include the win money, or what the case was. But let's see. It says payout, so I'm assuming this is show and win money. Jon Jones's payout last night was $15.192 million. What? Like I don't. Oh my god. And Stipe's was 3.5 million. So that to tell you that. But Jon Jones said he would fight Tom Aspinall if the money was right. He wants fuck you money. And if that is not fuck you money to Jon Jones, I, I don't know what it would be. I think it'd be 20 to show, 20 to win, or something like that. 10 to show, 10 to win. I don't know, something stupid. Um, I think what the UFC needs to do is they need to go with Jon Jones' stupid number because Jones has been talking about, or since the fights ended, he has said that if they pay him right, he will fight Tom Aspinall, which I have a whole opinion on that side of things. Um, I think I'll kind of give the meat and potatoes of that. I think as him being a self-proclaimed Christian, his greed's kind of showing. His greed's kind of poking through, like, oh, I want the money, which it's a business, whatever, makes sense. Do your thing, dog. But yeah, he's full of shit. Either way, I digress. That's a whole different topic conversation, whole different thing. Back to the fighting side of things, and not the more personal side of things. I think the clear contender is Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. I think the UFC needs to pay Jon Jones close to, if not what he wants, to get that fight. That is the fight to make out of even not just the heavyweight division across the UFC. Period. That is the fight to make. I think Tom Aspinall beats Jon Jones. I think Jon Jones can win that fight. Kind of unlikely to happen. Um, yeah, Stipe didn't need to be in there. That was not yeah, that was an old Stipe that we were used to. Yep, money, money, money. Um, I feel bad for him. I do, to an extent, because he's gonna have a great life. Like he's got a great family. He's a firefighter. He's got a career and everything off to the side. And I also I think that probably plays a part in it when you have fighters that have more full-time endeavors, like what Stipe does, firefighting on the side, even though it wasn't technically full-time. It's still a career. That kind of takes a little bit out of you as well. Um, but also age. I mean, father time. Like what I said about the Mike Tyson fight. I think father time is undefeated. You can't really do much about it. There's certain things you just can't do when you get older, and it's not anything you can fight. It's just taken from you. So, yeah, that was my reaction slash breakdown to UFC 309. Tom Aspinall needs to fight Jon Jones, or the other way around. Jon Jones needs to fight Tom Aspinall because there's gonna be so many question marks if he doesn't. If Jon Jones goes out there, fights Tom Aspinall, makes it look easy, it's like, all right, you're the goat. You're the fucking goat. Skill wise, he's not my goat. I have an opinion on that. I have a whole thing on the goat. You're the greatest UFC fighter to ever live. That's hands down, 100%. Yes, sir. But if he doesn't fight him at all, it's kind of like, well, is he? If Tom Aspinall goes in there and just throughout his entire career just wipes everybody off the fucking face of the UFC heavyweight division and just cleans house. Like he could do, I could see him doing multiple laps of the top 15. Like I don't see anybody posing a real threat to him. Um, that guy Robles to Spain, that was the I think he was the Olympic kickboxer or something like that. He recently got cut, and his first fight, I was like, oh, this guy, okay, looks a little interesting on the feet. Then we saw his grappling, and it was like, ah, yeah, that's kind of where that died out. But I do think he got cut a little early though, unless it was something that like on his end where he wanted it. But either way, I digress from that. Um, yeah, I think Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones needs to happen, and that is the biggest fight the UFC can book right now. That could potentially be the biggest heavyweight fight the UFC has ever put on. Period. So I think it is personally. Again, in retrospect, Jones versus Stipe was the biggest fight ever booked in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. But then just the way it played out, kind of is like, all right, well, yeah, he didn't need to be there. Like I've said 70,000 times this video. So yeah, that's my stream. I'm gonna leave it at that. Really just short but sweet. Also, I'm sorry for being super MIA from streaming. I know I fumbled the whole Halloween marathon in the month of October with the horror games. I will finish them. I'm currently in the process of moving. It doesn't look like it, but I'm getting somebody into my room. I rent a room in a house in Bozeman, Montana. I'm getting somebody in here at the end of the month, or at the beginning of the month, excuse me. They're getting back to the States at the end of the month because they're in New Zealand right now. Whatever. Um, in the process of moving back to Arizona, and I'll be getting my own apartment there and everything. So once I do that, then I'll be able to stream more regularly. But yeah, I um, I apologize for not streaming as regularly as I have been. Also, my setup's changed. I got rid of two of my monitors. I'm on this tiny little dinky monitor right now. So, uh, yeah, there are more streams. Um, I could stream. I could do it. I mean, I'm doing it right now. I'm not incapable of playing the games. It's just I need to be kind of focusing my energy and time elsewhere just to get things, taken care of financially and just make sure everything is smooth, smooth sailing. But yeah, um, that's pretty much all I've got to say. UFC 309 was a great card, top to bottom. There were some fights that were lackluster, but it is what it is. Um, interesting takes, like interesting approaches that certain fighters took to fights. And yeah, I maintain that UFC is the greatest sport, or sorry, MMA is the greatest sport on the planet. UFC is clearly the greatest promotion of said sport. So yeah, I'm hopping off. That's the stream. I'm done yammering. I'm done. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love MMA so much. um, yeah, Xander, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, dog, like always. And I don't know how to close out videos yet again. So goodbye.